Hey, what's going on, guys? Garden Shed here, and welcome. So, apologies for shaky camera phone video. Um, Judging by the title of it, you'll realise I'm currently nursing a broken leg, which is fairly recent, so I have to keep it elevated, which means I can't sit and record, and also, sit and edit, because I have to keep my foot so elevated. Unfortunately, happened on the 15th of May, which basically was during my first off-road course with Superior Motorcycle Experiences. For those of you that don't know, um, they offer both on-road and off-road courses, either single days or 3 days with full tuition, and absolutely brilliant bunch of guys, really, really nice. And then they also offer, breakfast and lunch with each day. So it's sort of like a full package almost, and you use their Royal Enfield Himalayans rather than your own bike, again, which is great because you're not, if anything does happen, who would imagine that would, then you're not on your bike, you're on their bike. So yeah, unfortunately. So we were basically going to, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. So met up at their place, had sort of a brief safety briefing, and then went up to a flat area, grassy area. Unfortunately, it just rained, and we're doing sort of slow speed throttle control and things like that for a little bit of time before then hitting lanes. And we did, a few different green lanes and things like that, which was really, really good fun. Start off really, really basic, and then gradually got a little bit more difficult with water crossings and things like that. Unfortunately, just before lunchtime, I was so there were 6 of us in the group, and there were 3 instructors. There was one at the front, one at the back, and then there was one that was sort of zooming in between, taking pictures and videos and things like that. So quite a good sort of level of attention to people, which was really nice. So anyway, it was heading up a rocky hill, up a trail with quite deep ruts, and it just heavily chucked it down with rain, so we were advised to ride in the ruts, avoid the grass, because wet grass is lethal on a motorbike apparently. Unfortunately, as I was riding along in this rut, there was a cyclist park stop right at the very edge of it, and I thought, well, if I stop, I'm going to come off. If I carry on in this rut, I'm going to hit him, most likely. But I saw just before him there was a bit where the rut went really, really shallow. So I thought, well, I might be able to get out of the rut and into the next rut, because there were quite a few sort of ruts from where various vehicles had sort of used that path. Unfortunately, slightly misjudged where the flat spot was and crossed it about a foot too late. So as the front wheel came up, it lost traction, and the bike just went over on its side and landed on my leg. So at this point, didn't realise it had broken, and sort of went to go and sort of was lying on the ground. Everyone's like, "You're right, you're right." It's like, yeah, my leg just really hurts. So I'm not one for hasty, and I do have an ounce of common sense. I thought, right, okay, before I move, can I bend my toes? Yes, but it's very painful. Okay. Can I lift my leg? No, leg feels really heavy. Okay. So sort of hotched myself on my good leg backwards and sort of on my elbows away from the bike. And the instructor, I was the last one in the group, so the instructor at the back was right behind me. He sort of pulled the bike away from me and helped me, and sort of rang for the others, so the rest of the group sort of all pulled over further up the track. And then the 2 other instructors came back to see if I was alright, and we were sort of working out what to do. Now, quite evidently, there was no chance of me being able to get out on a pillion on the back of another motorbike. My leg at this point was killing. Adrenaline was starting to wear off, etc. So we basically realised that the only way, there was no way an ambulance could get to us. Luckily, with Superior Motorcycle Experiences, they have a support van that basically follows people around, and it's to deal with breakdowns, things like that. But also, they have a chef that cooks lunch when you pull over. So he drives that, and he's got food in it, and people can store their valuables in it, etc. Which is actually like a really nice thing. So the executive decision was taken that they'd try and get the van, which was a long wheelbase Sprinter, up this track, It was probably a mile or two, I would say. And then we could load me into the Sprinter and ring an ambulance to come and meet us as soon as we were off the tracks. There's no way the ambulance could get to us. So, they very kindly basically managed to lift me off the ground, get me into the Sprinter. As they were lifting me, we kind of realised that my foot was not pointing in the same direction as my knee. So, there was definitely something wrong. So, managed to sort of strap myself up in the cab of the van using some ratchet straps to lift my leg off the ground, and very carefully put things around it to stop it swaying against the door as we went off down this track, driving incredibly slowly because it was not comfortable at all. So eventually got back to this car park where we'd agreed to meet the ambulance. Ambulance wasn't there, so we waited half an hour. Ambulance still wasn't there, so rang again, and advised that an ambulance would be at least an hour and a half. So instead, James from SME decided the best thing to do was drive me to Yeovil Hospital, which was about half an hour, 40 minutes away. And we figured that if I could go down the track in, I was about to say relative comfort, but not too much discomfort, which would say there were a few choice words, bumping off down the track and sort of laughing and joking and stuff like that, that we'd be able to get to Yeovil. So he very kindly took me to Yeovil, and that's when they did x-rays and realised I'd broken both my fibia and my tibia so the two bones in your leg below your kneecap. So I'm not quite sure which bone's which, but the one at the front I'd broken right down near the ankle. It was like a spiral fracture, and the one at the back was up at the top, sort of not far from my knee. So then what was it? So that was the Saturday. So Saturday evening, Sunday, Monday, they kept saying, we should operate, and they kept delaying it, so I was nil by mouth for 3 days. Had the operation Tuesday evening, was released on Wednesday to come home. So currently it's all plated and screwed. I'm not in a cast or anything, just sort of all bandaged up. So not ideal. I do have some photos and video from the day, but I don't know, they're not mine. Unfortunately, I took my GoPro down, which was the first time I'd used it, and I forgot to pack a memory card. So I don't have any video from the day. What I do have is from other people's sort of cameras and pictures and things that the guys at SME took. But even if it was the case of me having footage, I'll probably show you the bits of the day that I really enjoyed, but I wouldn't show you the accident. I don't think, if it's, I think I've shared coming off a motorbike before, and that was a little 5 mile an hour job, but I think, when it involves broken bones and things like that, which is, no, why would anyone want to see it? So there won't be any footage of that, but so SME's bike, I think, was rideable. I don't actually know. They were like, oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. And they were absolutely amazing. Really, really good. So obviously this was down in Dorset. I live in Leicestershire. So like, once hospital gets you sorted out, we'll run you home, we'll bring your bike home for you. Really, really helpful. They kept throughout the, my stay in hospital, etc. Really, really communicative to see if there was anything they could possibly do. But in the end, my dad came down to collect me with my girlfriend, and we used a company to bring my bike back up. I didn't feel right, them having to do a 8-hour journey or whatever it is, round trip, because I've been a muppet and fallen off a motorbike. So so that's pretty much it. I've got to go back down to Yeovil in about a week or so for a reappointment. Apparently they can't do it at my local hospital for some reason, so that's a little bit annoying. But I have to say, apart from, couple of things. Apart from the leg, I'm completely wound free. No other cuts, grazes or bruises. So it just goes to show, my bike kit did its job. We don't believe my helmet took an impact. but I might get it checked out anyway. And luckily I was wearing my City Adventure boots with serious ankle support. Now, no matter what boot you wear, if enough torsion goes through that boot, something's going to give. Something's bound to break. So, the fact you've got, 200 kilo bike landing on your foot at speed and twisting it. I was sort of having a chat with the consultant. He said you were lucky you were wearing the boots for the ankle support you did do, because otherwise your foot would, your ankle basically would have disintegrated and your foot would be dangling off. So, he said broken legs probably the best outcome from all of that. So it was a good thing I was wearing the boots I was wearing. And, I've always worn boots with serious ankle support following a police talk a few years ago. And it also had some TT riders talking about boots and things like that. And I would not touch a boot without serious ankle support, just because of the risk of basically your foot bending backwards when you come off. Legs are actually relatively easy to repair. You can plate and screw them, okay, it's discomfort. But ankles and stuff like that, not easy at all. And normally the result is it needs fusing, so you basically lose the use of your ankle. So in the long term, better to break your leg. But something's always going to give if there's that much force going through your foot and through your joints. So just one of those things, really. The other thing that's well worth pointing out is SME work, just absolutely unbelievable, really, really good. I would highly recommend them to anyone. Not just, really, really competent riders, really patient, took it at a nice level for a complete novice like myself. I think there were 7 of us of mixed ability. We all had a really great time. I think 2 or 3 of us had never ridden off-road before. And they were really patient with us and really helped us get to grips with it. Sorry, need a drink. So yeah, if you're ever sort of in the Dorset area and wanting to kill a day or two, then have a look at Superior Motorcycle Experiences. The reason they're called Superior Motorcycle Experiences, not only, is it essentially instructed tour guide, food, and really good food, but also it's they used to offer rentals on Brough Superiors, but I think during COVID they sold them off because there was no demand for it. What it costs to run them and depreciation, etc. So I think at the moment they only do Himalayans, but was talk about sort of expanding the fleet to other bikes and things like that. So yes, all fun and games, but at least I'm doing well. I'm hoping when I go back down to Yeovil in a week's time, they'll say everything's going well and they're hoping I'll be able to start load bearing on my leg again. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll find something out more about that in the next week or so, but I will keep you posted. In regards to kit, stuff like that, I think all my kit's okay. I've yet to clean it all. Obviously I need to get my helmet checked out. I can't see any evidence of an impact, but after the crash my vision did go blurry for quite a few minutes, so I don't know if that was like some sort of shock or adrenaline, something like that, or whether it was, an impact to the head that just hasn't shown on the helmet. So I will get the helmet checked out. But yeah, other than that, all okay. I've now got my bike back. That came back to me yesterday. I used a company called Moto Movers to bring it back. Again, would highly recommend. They even gave it a snow foaming before they brought it back to me. So that was really good. So yeah, that's about it really. So I'm sorry it's not, a video you wanted. I actually had a bike review planned for this week upon my return, and I'd almost finished editing it, but I just can't sit at a computer for the time being. It's too painful if I don't keep my leg elevated for long enough. So that'll be coming soon, and I've also got a few other videos in the pipeworks as well. And there's going to be some changes to the channel, which I'm not talking about just yet. But yeah, so all good. Anyway, just thought I'd give you this quick update and let you know what's going on. Thank you ever so much for watching, and take care.